right, let me double check here, actually.
Do we, are we going to have to leave the room or do we just stay right in here?
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just going to say a couple things real quick. Actually, I'm trying to make sure that the volume is good. YouTube's getting kind of quiet right now.
Whoa.
Anyway, we are live though. What's up, guys? Thanks for coming by the stream. Want to give another shout out again, like always, to Tim from Orfest for continuing to drop us badass bands to keep doing these series of live interviews on our YouTube with. So shout out to Tim, shout out to Orfest. But yeah, today's episode is pretty badass, man. This is a big one. We've got Bodysnatcher from Melbourne, Florida, on the stream, man, and we're pretty stoked about that. So they've been touring a lot. I've been releasing a lot of music, and we're stoked that they were able to carve out a little bit of time out of their busy ass schedule to come by. So yeah, guys, what's up, man? How are y'all feeling?
Not too much. I'm feeling pretty good.
Good. Kyle and Kyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the top is Kyle.
Yeah, 2 of the 3.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 Kyles. Right. Yeah, that was pretty funny looking you guys up and pulling up your Instagram. I was like, all right, we got Kyle. He does vocals. Cool. It's like, all right, we got Kyle. He plays guitar. And then we got Kyle. He does bass.
Yep.
So Kyle, you do vocals. Kyle on the bottom here, guitar, bass?
Bass.
Yeah, 2 of the 3. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, man. Again, thanks so much for coming by, and we appreciate you guys doing this interview.
Yes.
Yeah, so you guys are from Melbourne. Damn, I can't say that shit. Melbourne, Florida. Are all of you guys from Florida, or did you one of those bands that just kind of lives around all over the U.S., or where are you guys located at?
So interestingly enough, yeah, the band was originally all from Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what happened was we went through a big lineup change in like 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So then now, well, I mean, everybody is still from Florida for the most part, except for Kyle Shopier. He lived in New Jersey and he now lives in Florida as well.
Gotcha.
But Chris, our drummer, is from like South Florida, like Naples area. And then Kyle Carter also is from that area. He's from like Naples area. He lives in Sarasota now, which is like Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've always lived in Melbourne. The band originally was all from Melbourne, and then, like I said, that lineup change. So yeah,
cool.
I mean, me and Kyle Shope live in Melbourne, and then our TM, like merch guy DJ, lives in Melbourne, and then the other 2 live in like South Florida area. Not really South Florida, I guess you'd say. They just live on the other coast. So
nice. How I guess who's the band dad here? Who's the guy? You said you just went through a lineup change recently. Are there any original members? Like, who's the band dad?
It's just me. Okay. I'm the only original member. Chris would probably be band dad.
Okay.
He just he handles a lot of stuff. Me and him, for the most part, are the ones that like do a lot of the like for instance, like when we do like, I don't know, it's like the what'd you call it? Like the I guess you'd say like the business aspect, like paying for stuff, like paying for invoices and like getting stuff ordered and getting stuff the way that it's supposed to look and whatever. That would be me and him. But like as far as like ideas and like stuff like that, like we pretty much all come up with stuff like that. It's just Chris is very on top of stuff like that because he's very like business and stuff like oriented like that.
Yeah, got you. I guess you could say the day-to-day stuff, kind of a little bit of an office reference there, but yeah, when they had like 2 managers at one point and they were like, all right, well, you handle the day-to-day stuff, so I guess that's what you do then.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, like the logistics and the stuff like that. Like for instance, like I usually talk to the guy that designs all of our merch and stuff, and then like I go back and forth with him, and then when he sends me mocks of stuff, I'll send it to everybody and everybody will be like yes or no. And then as far as like paying for stuff, obviously I do that as well. And like he talks to our manager a lot, and I don't know. It's just like there's a lot of working parts and gears that are constantly always moving and stuff. But he did that with King Conquer when he was in King Conquer. He pretty much was the band dad for that band as well. And then when we had the lineup change, I was kind of doing everything. And then when he joined, it was like a little bit less of all of it on my shoulders, having to do all of it. So like he came in and does a lot of that as well. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. What saw some of that's what I was going to ask about. I was going to ask Chris about his what was it, 1776 recordings that he does. So it seems like he already kind of has a knack for being a businessman and kind of running stuff on his own, because if I remember correctly, man, he's been kind of doing that for a while. Is that where you guys go to get your recordings done? Do you do something there? Do you send them off to somebody else? I mean, or is it all done there?
So Chris recorded the band when we were a local band. He was pretty much recorded the band. Like we put out an EP with somebody else, and then after that, our first full length was with Chris. Like he did a lot of the engineering with it and stuff. And then when he ended up joining the band, we were recording a single with him before we came out with This Heavy Void. This was like years ago. This was like probably 2017, 2018. And we had just like I'm saying, like within that week had gone through that lineup change. And he was like, oh, you guys don't have a drummer? Well, I'd play drums for this if you would have me or whatever. And we pretty much were like, yeah. And at that time, it was just me and a guitar player at that time. And so Chris he joined essentially. And then as far as Kyle Shope was the next one to join, and then Kyle Carter joined. So it was like, he kind of already recorded us and knew what we sounded like and wanted to sound like. So it was pretty seamless, as well as him having experience. Yeah, for sure. So that's a big plus. Kind of a no-brainer at that point.
Yeah, definitely a no-brainer to have like, hey, this guy can do our recordings. Andy already knows what we need to sound like. Andy's really good at it. So yeah, let's roll with that.
And his band was badass as fuck.
Yeah, you're right, man, for sure.
So it was cool.
What kind of talking about recordings and stuff. Obviously you guys do all the stuff with Chris at his recording studio. What's your I guess kind of what's your writing process kind of leading up until that? I mean, we kind of figured out already you guys got a band dad or two there, but is there somebody in the band that's writing most of the music? Do you guys kind of do a collaboration effort? Is it like, hey, Kyle, here, you're getting an instrumental, throw some vocals on it, like a rough pre-production kind of thing? Like, what's that process from kind of writing the music up until it gets to the recording process for you guys?
It's funny that all these questions are like oriented for, I mean, like me and Kyle Shope can obviously answer it, but it's just funny because it's like they write a lot of shit too. So it's like, so what they do is Kyle Carter will scratch, like he'll write a lot of tracks like on guitar, and like he'll even write like drums to it, like rough drums to it, and then he'll send it to Kyle Shope and Chris, and I guess all three of them pretty much like write stuff. And then once that process is done, then we go and record the instrumentals and like finalize it. And then when we record, that's when we like put the vocals on it and stuff. Like we pretty much like write the lyrics and whatever. Like everybody writes lyrics in our band.
Interesting.
So like, basically what'll happen is we'll write the lyrics or whatever, and then we'll go in and record, and then that's pretty much what happens. It all comes together.
Yeah.
So we don't have like a set process that's the same for every song. Like there's been a bunch of songs that Kyle Carter will write most of the pre-pro, and then we'll work together on like lyrics and vocal placements and stuff like that. But there's also like every time we go to do something, we do it a little bit differently. Like, so This Heavy Void, we worked with Austin Coop on 2 songs. I mean, I'm not This Heavy Void, Bleed Abide. We worked with Austin Coop on 2 songs. And he was in there in the room with us as we were writing the whole songs, helping us play stuff, helping us figure out riffs. So like we had like an extra producer on those songs. Or like this Heavy Void, I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, and I flew down so we can write songs together before we recorded them.
Gotcha.
So like basically most of the songwriting starts with like somebody sending pre-pro, like Carter or me and Chris, or just Chris having ideas, sending pre-pro over, and then we all work together on stuff. But every time we go to do something, it usually comes out different. And I think the next one that we're working on is going to be a little different than that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So different, you mean just as far as how the songs are going to come out, or how the process of which you guys are writing the songs are going to be different?
Process of everything.
The process. Yeah.
Gotcha. Which ultimately, because you're changing the process, it will change the outcome. So, hey, you probably get some better music out of it too, probably.
Hopefully. That would rock too, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
mean, you can't be afraid to try new things. So
Yeah. Kind of saying earlier, like we did at the early beginning of the stream. Yeah, you guys are super busy. I remember one of you on social media. I tried to go back and find this, but it might have been a while. Was talking about how, I don't remember what tour it was from, but you guys did a tour, like a month-long tour, and then the last day of that, the next day was the first day of the next tour. There was something crazy like that, where you had these two 1 month long tours exactly back to back to each other. Is that correct?
We just did that. Yep.
That just happened. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That was our headliner going straight into Lorna Shore headliner. And then we did a Shadow of Intent headliner on the way back home. Mm-hmm. So it was 5 weeks. It was us, Angel Maker, Paleface, Distant. And then we finished that. And then the next day was Lorna Shore, Shadow of Intent, Brand of Sacrifice, us, Boundaries. And then once that finished, we went, I think we had like 2 days off. And then we went straight into Shadow of Intent, or we didn't even have a day off. I don't even think we had a day off.
No, we didn't, because Lorna Shore ended in Seattle, and then the next day was Portland with Shadow of Intent headlining.
Gosh.
Wow.
We're crazy maniacs, dude.
That is crazy, man.
I mean, it's not like the first time either. Like back in the fall, we did the Hatebreed headliner. That tour ended in San Diego. We drove straight home. We were home for Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday we got on a plane to Europe and did a month in Europe.
Wow.
Yep. Sure did.
That's awesome, man. That's badass work ethic on you guys. And also a lot of, it obviously seems like that's also a pretty well-oiled machine too, to be able to get all that stuff going and to time it. There's a lot of shit that has to happen to be able to time a long-ass tour like that. This day it ends, and then the very next day, this other long-ass tour starts. There's a lot of moving parts there. So props to you guys and your team, man, for making that happen. I'm sure probably at some point in that, you guys were like, God, when is this shit going to end?
Dude, yeah. You know what's really crazy is that our TM and our sound guy both took a tour right after that as well. So they're still on tour right now.
Jeez.
Yeah, he just saw them like a couple days ago, and he was like, dude, they look rough right now.
They need some sleep and some haircuts.
Yeah, I bet, dude. That is crazy.
I guess kind of like, do you guys, obviously there's probably a lot of prep for you guys that goes into tour and stuff with practice and all that, like standard stuff. Right. But when you're about to do 2 months straight, do you guys approach that a little bit differently, or is it just kind of like extra practice? Or it's a lot of mental preparation.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, well, we're about to do this.
So we didn't do really any extra practice because we had like a lighting package for our headliner. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we practiced for 2 full days, getting an hour-long set down and practicing setting up the lights and making sure everything looks right.
Gotcha.
But then when we went right into Lorna Shore, because we went from an hour set to, 25-minute set?
Yeah. We were like Terminators, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah, we were already a month into tour, so it went by so much easier.
Oh, yeah. It was like, there was kids that had seen us on the headliner, and then they saw us like, like 3 weeks later, and they're just like, dang, like you guys play a lot less. And we're like, yeah, dude, thank God. Yeah.
It seems like that would be the best way. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe one of you guys can comment on this. Do you think that it would have been better to do what happened with you guys, where you have the 1 hour sets for a month straight and then go to 25-minute sets, or to start with 25-minute sets for a month and then go to 1 hour?
Absolutely not. Oh my God. I would hate that. That would suck.
You're going to want to start with the longer set.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're more in tune with being like, okay, well, I'm gonna bust my ass for an hour. I mean, when you go from that to that, it's like like I said, it's like you're a superhuman. It's insane. Like the difference is so noticeable.
Yeah,
it's like going from working full time right to part time.
That's a good point. That's a good point too, because there's probably a lot of other things that need to happen for you guys as far as being a headliner. Not obviously you just obviously have a way longer set, but now all your lighting and stuff is involved. So there's also probably a lot more moving parts behind a 1 hour set versus a 25-minute set for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Plus we had VIP meet and greet. So we were doing like 13-hour days every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We would get to the venue at about 1 maybe in the afternoon, I would say. And then we would get there. We would set up all the lights. We would set up all of our gear. We would sound check by like 2:32. I'm not even sure. 2:30. We'd be done with that, and then we'd have VIP at like 4 or 5 for an hour, and then doors would open, and then there's the show.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of don't really have time to yourself. You don't. And then as far as Lorna Shore goes, that was so much easier because we would have a loader, or we would have a later load in time. We would load in at like 3 or 4 because all the other bands would be there, and we were kind of just like 2 of 5, so it was a lot easier on us. Like as far as like we have more time to sleep, we would have more time to ourselves. Like for instance, we would just load our gear in, and instead of having to put everything on stage and be there for the next 3 hours, it was like we would do it, and then we'd go, okay, well now I'm free and not needed until 5:30 or 6 or whatever, and we would just go and deck off and eat or call our girlfriends or call, loved ones or whatever. And then we would be able to just like chill.
Yeah, for sure. Did you guys do your own lighting for that? Did you set that up, or did you have somebody like a lighting guy for that? How did that work exactly?
As far as on the headliner, we set that up. Yeah. So we had a dude program everything. Like he programmed our set, like as far as like the light show. So every song was different and programmed by this person. And basically we would set up the lighting every single day, take the lights out of the case, plug them all in, get the computer loaded. It would load the session, and then we would make sure all the lights were working. And then,
Nice. Yeah.
We do that every night. And then as far as Shadow of Intent and the Lorna Shore run, we were sharing lights with Shadow of Intent, Brand of Sacrifice. So what we would do was it was the same guy. We dropped off our lights on the headliner the night before because he came to the show, dropped off the lights with him, and then he dropped them off with Shadow of Intent, I believe. And we met with them the next day, and then we learned how to set those up because they're a little bit different and they're a little bit bigger. And then, it was just basically just setting them up and then tearing them down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's almost like Bodysnatcher's kind of turning into a mini production company at that point, because you're not just a band. You have your own front of house guy running audio, and you guys are setting up your own lighting, running lights, running DMX cable, making sure the interface is hooked up and the laptop
he knows
is
about that.
I do freelance cable. Audio video lighting for a living. I've been doing that for about 10 years now. So I understand the amount of work that has to go into that. Not only were you guys playing an hour-long set every night, I mean, and you have to make sure your own equipment works. Now you got to make sure all the lighting and shit works on top of that. So that's a lot of stuff happening, man, for sure. But you guys nailed it. I mean, hell, the Masquerade in Heaven, I'm pretty sure you guys sold that out. That's a big ass room.
That was crazy, dude. That was literally like a jaw-dropping moment of going, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening right now. And haters can hate all they want, but
you can't at that point.
You literally cannot. And it takes everybody to do it. It's not just one band. So like anybody that wants to throw that comment out there, that's an asinine thing to say.
Yeah.
Or to think, because it's everybody that does it and everybody that makes it happen. And I mean, obviously, you're going to have your bands that are crazy draw, but it's like, it's wild, man. Like, I think the tour that we picked, like all those bands, it was just like the perfect, like each band was perfect for it. It was the perfect tour package. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember when I remember seeing pictures and videos about that going around. It's like Bodysnatcher sold out Heaven at the Masquerade, and everybody was like, holy shit.
Yeah, dude, it was insane.
I mean, we expected,
and it was crazy.
We expected you to do good because, like you said, the tour package was awesome, but I don't think really anybody expected that to happen, man. That was yeah.
And on top of that, it wasn't like there was a walkout. Like, it wasn't like, you know, somebody would play and then you'd be like, well, that was the reason why everybody would be like, no, like there was no walkout. It was insane every single day too. It was like literally like we'd walk in and there'd be 1,000 people paid or 1,100 people paid, and we'd go like, holy shit.
Wow.
Well, maybe this will be the stinker. And then like, no, it would still be 1,000 people at the end. It was crazy.
Yeah, I feel like there's been perhaps you guys can comment on this. I'd actually love to hear your perspective on this. And then we'll actually get to some comments in a sec after this. But
yeah, for sure.
Kind of talking about selling out shows like that. It seems like obviously COVID happened. There's a little bit of a reduction in there was a lot of a reduction in everything. But it seems now that not only have we kind of passed the period where obviously there aren't the requirements anymore and this and that, things are a lot more open, but it's almost as if now it seems like we're in this rebound period where it's almost as if people didn't get access to shows for so long that it's like now I feel like just more people are going to them. I mean, hell, we had one of the first bands that played at the Masquerade in Heaven, actually, right after COVID. It was a local band, Bill, and it was in Heaven, and they damn near sold it out. I mean, and no offense to them, but I mean, nobody would have expected that. It's like, hey, you're a local band, right?
It's a crazy thing to happen. Yeah, I think what happened was everybody kind of took shows for granted, and also when you haven't done something for a while and it's something that you have interest in, you're going to be like, oh, I might as well go. You know what I mean? So it's like I think there's definitely a resurgence of live shows, but I think there's also like the new generation of kids, because there's all younger kids and there's people that haven't gone to metal shows before that are going to metal shows now, which is wild. It's like the new think about it like when you were in high school and you were listening to said bands or whatever, and you were going to shows, and then there was a lot of older people there, or, you know, there was people that were already kind of established in that scene that were already going to shows, and you kind of felt like oh my gosh, like I didn't even know that this was a thing. There's local shows. Like I didn't even know this was a thing. I think that's what's happening now with all the newer kids are coming to shows now.
Yeah. Cause COVID for everybody probably felt like an eternity. So it's like, hey, it's kind of like what you said. It's like, hey, even if I'm not really interested in these bands before, I mean, and I think that's the other thing too, is COVID probably made a lot of people not take that stuff for granted, because up until that point, you go, oh, there's another show, whatever, there'll be another one next weekend. And we start seeing all this shit on the news, and then it's like, there's nothing for so long. So it seems like it kind of maybe had a little bit of a reset button for a lot of people and their kind of expectations for the numbers of shows and stuff.
Yes, I think that, and I think also like it filtered out a lot of the people that didn't give a shit anymore anyway, and it got a lot of the people that are gaining interest in heavy music into going. You know what I mean? They were like, oh, well, all these people are not going anymore. So I mean, like, you kind of have to think of it like a changing of the guard. That's essentially what just happened. Like, a lot of people are not even going. Like, there's people that I haven't even seen go to shows pre-COVID that still haven't come. Like it's almost like it's just completely pushed out the old and now in with the new, which is strange because it's weird for me, and I'm sure it's weird for Kyle Shope, even though Kyle Shope wasn't really like a show goer for a long time, because I feel like you kind of left the scene. Would you say, Kyle Shope, for a long time?
Yeah. Well, I had like a full-time career, so I kind of stopped going to shows.
So,
and then
Kyle Shope used to play in a band that is from a very different era, like a different era of these shows and deathcore in general. So,
which band?
Kyle Shope. Yeah, so he used to play in a band called Float Face Down from New Jersey.
What genre was it?
Deathcore.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But I'm saying more so in the sense of like deathcore has changed dramatically since 2010, 2011. That band was that was around that time that band was popping. What would you say, Exidium Verum? What was that like?
I think it officially came out in 2012.
Right. So formed in 2006, separated 2014. So that's a very different time. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm sure even with him, he can comment and be like, wow, this is a completely different group of kids. And I mean, for me, it definitely is too. I mean, I've gone to shows for a long time, but it's definitely like a lot of people that I grew up going to shows with don't go to shows, or they haven't gone in forever. And there's, like I said, like on the headlining shows, like you see so many kids that are like 13, 14 years old that are going to shows now. And you're like, whoa, like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
Like, it's just strange. And then like even the older heads, like it's like you're seeing less and less of them. I mean, yes, of course, there's people that have been going to shows forever that you'll still see. Like there's people that I see at shows that have been going since we were a local band, but it's definitely like, what I'm trying to say is that the newer generation of kids is definitely like, it's making more of an appearance. Like you can definitely notice it a lot more often.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a really good point for that.
Whereas before, I feel like before COVID, and maybe this is me just not paying attention, but I mean, to me, before COVID, it seemed like it was all the same people every time, over and over and over and over again. There was new kids.
That's a good observation. I would agree with you on that for sure. We experienced that here with shows around in this area for sure. Not just with shows that we played personally, but just in general in the scene.
Right.
For sure.
Right. You just kind of notice it. You're like, huh, this person is always at shows. And like now I don't really necessarily like, yes, I still see that. Like there's definitely the kids where I'm like, okay, I'm expecting to see this guy. I'm expecting to see this guy. But like, there's definitely a lot of people where I'm like, damn, I haven't seen that person in like 3 years.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's catch up on a couple comments here. Orfez says you guys are killing it at the moment. Hard work pays off.
Gosh, thank you guys.
What's up, Dead and Field? He said Lorna Shore blew up after Orfest last year. You could be next. Hey, maybe that's.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Maybe that's the gift of playing Orfest, is that you guys blow up. I mean, I feel like you guys are already blown up anyway. Actually, I take that back. You guys have blown up. If you're at the point where you can sell out Heaven and the Masquerade, you are officially stamped as this band has blown up, in my opinion.
It's hard to notice it when you're the one that's doing it. It's very strange. We have a different perspective of it. So
yeah.
But then again, I see friends and I see fans, and they're like, "Dude, you guys are huge now," and I'm like, "Really?
Yeah.
Are we?"
Yeah.
I guess so.
Oh, humble Kyle, but no, I'm just giving you a little shit, but yeah, for sure. I can see where you're coming from. I mean, you guys are so busy too, so it's probably just like time is passing for you so quickly because you just got so much shit going on. It's probably hard sometimes to just even take a step back and kind of be like, hey, what's actually happening here? Like, oh wait, we sold out this venue, we sold out all these venues on our. Actually, real quick, how many of those dates did end up selling out on your headlining run?
All of them.
All?
Every single show.
Everyone, yep.
Yeah, man. I think it's safe to say you guys have, quote unquote, blown up now. It's safe for you to say that.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah. Let me see a couple more comments here. So excited you guys are coming to Orfest this year. It's going to be amazing, says Jeremy Miller.
With blood comes cleansing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Kyle, you seem to be pretty excited about them playing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy all of their merch.
All of the merch. They're not gonna have any
literally
left.
Every single T-shirt that they have. I'm buying it on the table. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Quisha Minigan says that show at the Masquerade was fire. Emoji.
It's insane.
Like any more people going. I'm gonna read a couple here. Let's all give Tim a round of applause for bringing these awesome bands to Savannah. Yeah, nice job, Tim. Tim's been killing it with Orfest, man, for a long time.
I think the last year when we couldn't play because Chris scratched his cornea, so we couldn't play. But I think last year I was told that it was like the third or fourth, or maybe even longer than that.
Yeah.
I would not know though. I'm not too educated as I'm a state away. So
I think the one before that was. Tim could probably comment on that one a little bit better, obviously. Yeah. Tim, if you can provide some insight. You obviously know the history better than anybody else. So rad to see some of the old bands coming back together to play shows. Yeah, man, for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, me and Kyle were actually talking about this a second ago, how he was saying that he's excited to play with Blood Comes Cleansing, and we're like, wait, hold on a minute. What year is this right now? This is literally 2023, and we're saying this out loud?
Did you know them? They just put a new song out, and then Underneath the Gun just put a song out as well. Do you remember that band?
Wow, that name sounds familiar.
Band. Yeah, that is an old band.
That's a phrase I like to use called turn of the century core. Which is that is, it's like right after 2000, like 2001, 2002, right?
Well, that band was Underneath the Gun, I think was 2006, 2007, 2008, around there.
Yeah, that's
good
awesome.
band.
Yeah, that's badass.
I love that shit.
What kind of speaking of bands, I mean, we know obviously you're stoked to play with Blood Comes Cleansing. What other bands would you like to see come out of retirement for Bodysnatcher to play some shows with?
Oh God, don't get me started on this.
Dude, I'm
deathcore dork number one.
So Despised Icon?
I mean, Despised Icon's already back though. They don't play. They play
hard to tell with them sometimes.
Yeah, they play some selective ones. I mean, there's bands like Knights of the Abyss, but I mean, like they play selectively as well. It's like all these bands that are back play very selectively, which is like it's smart. I get it. Everybody's old now. I mean, I'm almost 30. I'm a couple years shy of 30. He's already 30. So I mean, I can only imagine these bands coming back are probably like pushing late 30s, almost 40s. So it's like I get it. Like everybody's very selective with what they want to do, but
yeah,
I love seeing old shit like that. Like we played with in Ohio. This dude used to book our band at the Foundry in Ohio. He used to be in a band called Cholera, and we've played with them a couple times. And I used to listen to that band in high school, and that band was fucking badass live. That band was sick. But I don't even think they're doing anything anymore because I don't even see him anymore. He used to book all our shows in Ohio, and I haven't seen him in a while. So. But it's things like that. Like I love watching old names on flyers. Like I think we play with Dead to Fall at the end of this month. We play Milwaukee Metal Fest. Dead to Fall is on it.
Wow.
So that's an old band.
On Earth is on it.
Jeez.
On Earth, yeah, On Earth is cool. They've stayed. I mean, they had a little bit of a break. I think they kind of been a little on and off, but they were one of the bands that came back that they actually started touring again. It wasn't just like, kind of like what you were saying.
Oh, yeah, they do stuff now.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know, if you have the potential to, and I'm not saying that money is everything. I'm just saying that, you know, it does pay to have some dollary dues from your band. Like, it definitely is less depressing to play music when you're making money. So I would assume that they're trying to see if they can round up some dollary dues from touring. Why not?
Yeah. Ain't nobody going to argue with some dollary dues, and I'm sure Dead to Fall will probably be getting some. Man, it's crazy even. Dead to Fall, like, what the hell? So crazy to even say that.
We played with them pretty recently, and by pretty recently, I mean like 3 or 4 years ago, but it was pretty kick-ass. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty awesome.
I mean, in the scope of their timeline, though, that's pretty recent.
Yeah, we played with
a string of shows with Through the Eyes of the Dead through Texas.
What year was that?
That's been around forever. I think it was like probably like September 2018.
Yeah, it was like right before 2019.
Was that?
We played.
What was it? Texas Independence Fest.
Yep, that was us and Through the Eyes of the Dead.
Did you guys play? Yeah, okay. That was with On Broken Wings, Bury Your Dead, Despised Icon, Oceano.
Mate, that I don't know.
I remember because I flew out there by myself and went to that shit.
What was that? It was Texas Independence Fest.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. That's crazy. Damn.
The one we were on was that was not that one.
Oh, okay.
There was a couple of them.
You guys might have been the year before, the year after, or something. When I went.
This is the 20. You're talking about the 2016 one. That's Despised Icon, Bury Your Dead, On Earth, Carnifex, Malevolent Creation, Through the Eyes of the Dead, Oceano, Sworn Enemy, Reflections, Enterprise Earth.
Yep.
Lionheart.
Insane lineup, dude.
That rooks.
And what's even crazy about that, man, is it was one of those stages that was halfway outside, so they had a roof over the stage, but it was open. So when you see a venue like that, you're like, all right, this ain't gonna sound that great. But dude, that's one of the best live sounds that I've heard, not just in metal, but any genre period ever. Like when I think I ended up getting there because I was working night shift at the time. I ended up getting there when Through the Eyes of the Dead was setting up. And I could tell that the guy knew what he was doing on the board, because when he was sound checking and he hit the snare, it sounded like a recording. I was like, oh, this shit about to sound good as hell.
Yeah. So the one we played was, this flyer is very pixelated, but it was Within Destruction, Us, Abiotic, Lorna Shore, Enterprise Earth, Waking the Cadaver.
Wow.
Oh Sleeper, The Agony Scene, Impending Doom. That was 2019. And then I want to say we played a 2021, right?
We played 2018 with Dying Fetus and The Art is Murder.
Ooh.
Oh, God, you have such a good memory.
Fetus,
so that
dude.
that was Shadow of Intent, Sanction, Bodysnatcher, Spite, Enterprise Earth, Rivers of Nile, Browning, Evergreen Terrace, Sworn In, Fit for an Autopsy, Oceano, Carnifex, The Art is Murder, Dying Fetus. Wow.
What?
That whoops fucking
That sounds like
ass.
a joke,
Holy
dude.
shit.
You just make that up?
No,
I
that happened.
assure you,
Oh, man.
I did not make it up. I assure you.
That is wild. What an insane lineup,
That was
dude.
the second show I ever played with Bodysnatcher.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was Bodysnatcher.
That's a
Dude,
good
I
way
gotta
to get
find
brought
this
in,
fucking
dude.
thing, because now
Holy
that we
shit.
brought it up,
That's insane, man. That is such a wild lineup.
I can't find the flyer for that. I know we did 3 shows with them, but I don't know.
It was
Fuck it.
It was White Oak. It was at White Oak in Houston. I remember.
Here it is.
And
I think this
Kublai
is
Khan
it.
played.
Yep, it was Shaping the Legacy, Bodysnatcher, Die Young, Vatican, Extortionist, I Am, Dead to Fall, Through the Eyes of the Dead, Impending Doom.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, that
Insane.
rocks.
That's wild, man. Yeah, they're
That's
killing it with that fest out there, man. Holy shit.
That's a banger. That was like 5 years ago, though. Holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Orifest, Tim says, kind of talking about earlier, he said, I did a bunch in the early 2000s and then rebooted it. Last year was the 4th time at that venue.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Through the Eyes of the Dead coming back so good. They played here 2018 also.
That might have been that one.
Tim, maybe you can comment. I think that was the one that Evergreen Terrace and Bury Your Dead. I think Bury Your Dead headlined that one too, Tim. Maybe you can confirm that. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. And kind of talking about just crazy bands on a bill. I feel like with the kind of music that you guys have and the shows that you've been playing with, the bands that you've been playing with, I feel like you guys kind of sit in this kind of niche now, like kind of compare you to Terror and Hatebreed, right? It's like,
wow, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And the reason why is that Hatebreed has always been kind of this enigma where they're just like heavy as shit, but they can appeal to
hardcore bands.
Metalcore. You're right. Yeah. Metalcore bands, metal, hardcore. It's like if they want to play a straight up hardcore show, they could. If they want to play a metal show with, I don't know, let's see, a Black Dahlia Murder or Shadow of Intent or something like that, or Humanity's Last Breath or whatever, they will. I mean, it's like, so I feel like you guys are kind of starting to fit in that niche now to where obviously you have your sound and it's like, hey, we're listening to Bodysnatcher. I kind of know what I'm getting myself into, right? This is their sound. Right. But you guys are kind of doing it to where you're playing for these like widely different genres of shows, it seems. It's like you guys can fit on a metal bill. You guys could fit on a hardcore bill. You guys could fit on a metalcore bill or any other kind of little weird specific subgenre in between, right? If you want to get really hyper specific about it. Right. Is that something that you guys kind of take into consideration when maybe you're writing the music, or just how you kind of approach the band in general? Is like, hey, we got a tour offer. These bands rip. They're metal. We're heavier, beat down, kind of moshcore, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Let's roll it. I mean, how are you guys approaching that? And are you trying to go out of your way to kind of be like, hey, we just want to play all the stuff?
We just play music we think is heavy and we think is fun. And we love pretty much every band. So we're just like pretty open to it. But also we do realize that we fit in a wide genre of things that we can do. And we do that kind of purposely, like where we want to play deathcore, but we want to like have a lot of the core aspects still in our music. But also we don't want to like alienate people that like metal. So we just like play what we think is fun and what we think deathcore is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So that, I guess that kind of is, that's what you would consider yourselves as just like deathcore, just like straight up?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's more akin to like the 2010s deathcore, like a lot of like the King Conquer, Molotov Solution. Like, I don't know, it's got like it's still got a lot of the aggression in it. And I think a lot of bands, and this isn't me just being, I wouldn't say judgmental. I think it's more factual, is that like a lot of the deathcore that's around now doesn't have the aggression behind it. It's still heavy, but it doesn't have like the anger behind it, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that for sure. And it's kind of like you were saying earlier, man, lots changed. I mean, deathcore in 2023 is truly a hell of a lot different than it was in 2003 or 2013
or
2010,
even 2013, 2008. It's all different. It's comes from a different place. It's written by different people. It's written in a different style. Things evolve over time.
Yeah, for sure. So the label that you guys are signed to, MNRKheavy. How do you say this exactly? Do you guys know how you're supposed to say this?
Monarch.
What is it?
Yeah, it's Monarch.
Monarch. Okay, cool. Dude, the roster on this label is insane. What is it? Crowbar, Black Label Society, Under Oath, Judas Priest, Within the Ruins, Impending Doom, Bodysnatcher. I mean, wow. Like, it's like when you go to a label like with you guys, for instance, and you see what label they're on, like, okay, I kind of can expect there to be a certain kind of spread of bands, but it seems like this label specifically is just, they're really pulling in. I mean, it's crazy to think that a band like Within the Ruins or Bodysnatcher or Impending Doom will be signed on the same label as Judas Priest. I mean, crazy shit. So I'm kind of interested, how did you guys get on that label? I mean, what was the road for y'all to kind of get there? It's like, did you message them first? Did they reach out to you first? What happened there with that? Because man, their roster is.
We were originally on another label, and our contract ended with said label, and so we started label shopping. And our manager Scott, basically email blasted and talked to some people that might be interested in us, like label shop, like help us label shop. And then we were playing a show in New York, I believe with Lorna Shore at the time. This was like 2018, 2019. And a label rep came out and we spoke to them. They were under E1 Heavy is what they were called before. Same label, just different name. And we basically sat down and talked about things that would be possible, things that would be, on the table for us if we were to sign with them. And we said it sounded pretty good and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And then a couple months later, we got a label offer and we took it. And it had a lot of things that were in our favor. So we ended up taking it. And then E1, I believe, was purchased by Hasbro and then was sold by Hasbro. So this is like $1 million company. It was sold for $800 million to some other company from Hasbro to another company, and then they rebranded as Monarch. And then they bought out all the contracts from E1. So we stayed on the label, and they kept all of the people on the payroll. So they just essentially changed the name and the marketing, and that was it.
Damn, that's awesome. That's wild. It's crazy to think Hasbro of all companies would have been involved in some shit like that.
I was trying to get free toys and then they sold the fucking label. I was pissed. I actually reached out to one of our label reps and I was like, yo, can I get free toys? And he was like, yes. And then 2 months later I was like, did we hear anything about this? And he was like, they sold the company. And I was like, mother hunt.
Oh man. So kind of talking about getting Hasbro sponsors. We were talking before stream about some of the toys you got set up here, and I found out that you guys are pretty big into anime and video games and stuff.
I love anime and video games.
Dude, let's hear about it, man. What kind of anime you guys watching? What kind of video games you playing? Like,
video game wise, me and my fiance play a ton of video games. She plays kind of more than me though, honestly. Like I play a lot of video games, but I don't know. I feel like she definitely plays a lot more consistently than I do. But I was playing Resident Evil remake, the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Gotcha.
Which, by the way, if you're a gamer, great game. It's better than the original one. I know that's a big, tall thing to say, but it's better than the original one. But it's dope. I'm on my like third playthrough. And then Dead Space Remake was really good.
Forgot about that one.
It was dope. And then I just started Metroid Prime Remastered today, which I loved the original Metroid Prime games. The game rocks. I have Tears of the Kingdom, which is a new Zelda game. I have not played it yet, but I have it. I just like video games, man. I don't know. They're fun.
Yeah. What about
anime?
You? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What other animes? And then we'll ask other.
I was just gonna say I like a lot of giant robots fighting, and I like a lot of violence. So I like. I was showing her Hellsing Ultimate recently. That's a very good anime. Gundam Unicorn is probably one of my favorites. I have a mobile suit tattooed on my hand from that.
That's badass.
Trigun. I don't know. I like a lot of stuff. She was showing me. I never watched it, but it was Samurai Champloo.
Okay.
It's really good. Good anime.
Nice. That's badass.
Yeah, I like a wide variety of shit, but Kyle Shope.
Yeah. What about you, man? We've established Kyle Medina is a self-proclaimed weeb, as he said earlier. So what about you, man?
I'm an anime lover.
He's definitely the number one weeb in the band.
Whenever we print video game shirts or anime shirts,
yep, that's where it comes from.
I fight for them. Let it be known to the crowd that's watching. I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for those shirts.
We know where it comes from now. But yeah, Shope, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I try to play as much video games as possible. I work when we're not on the road. I work part-time, but it's still like 4 days a week, so I don't have that much free time. But I've pretty much just been playing Call of Duty lately and replaying Diablo 2 because Diablo 4 is coming out soon, and I'm really excited about that. And I really hope Blizzard doesn't drop the ball, which they might, but
they definitely will, dude. Blizzard stinks.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, hey, it's good to get in and go through the old ones to kind of prep for that anyway. And
Diablo
at least even
is
if
like
it
a
does,
perfect game. So
yeah, Diablo 2 is sick. The only Blizzard game that I played back in the day was StarCraft.
Ooh, did you play online at all?
Though. No, of course not.
Of course not.
Maybe I did. I'm not sure. That's such a long ago thing. I mean, I played like when we're talking like online gaming, I played like Halo 2 and Halo 3 like religiously, like until my eyeballs were just toasted.
Gotcha. So you would have been talking about StarCraft 1, not the second one.
Oh yeah, no, probably StarCraft 1. Maybe. I'm not sure. This was like 2000. This was like the mid to early 2000. Yeah, I'd say like mid 2000s.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's badass. Do you guys bring any of that on the road? Like, do you guys bring consoles or anything so you can play games while you're sitting in the van for however long?
Oh yeah, I played the full Resident Evil 4 remake on my Steam Deck the whole entire time.
Damn, that's awesome. How is the Steam Deck, by the way?
Play the Switch.
It fucking whoops ass, dude. I emulate like everything. Like play GameCube, play Nintendo 64, play like PS2. You can play DS titles on it, and then you can play like if you really, really get down to it, and you're like super, like I don't know, like hyper nerd like I am. You'll download like you can play original Xbox titles on it if you can set the emulator up, but it's pretty easy. Like it's all in like if you look it up on YouTube and stuff, you can get that sort of stuff set up and whatnot. So
yeah,
I did that, but also you can play like new games on it pretty easily. Like I mean with Steam, so I mean I was playing Resident Evil 4 remake and that was pretty awesome. And then I got home and beat it another 2 times at my house. But yeah, no, the Steam Deck's awesome, and then you can get a dock for them like the Nintendo Switch, and it's pretty dope. So.
That's badass. Is it? I'm not too familiar with the Steam Deck. So is it pretty much? Can you play any game on it that's on Steam?
Yeah. Essentially,
nice.
Valve put out a handheld computer. Essentially, and what it is it's a direct competitor to any handheld game or gaming device, and it basically shits on everything. So
that's badass. Yeah, because
it's pretty awesome, man.
That's badass, man. To have something like that, and you gotta imagine, man, Steam's entire library at literally in your 2 hands, portable. I mean,
Dude,
you would
it's
be able to
insane.
play games like Roach Simulator or Shower with Your Dad. I mean, you can just play those just
God
whenever.
of War. It's insane, man. Like I was
Papers,
playing, like,
Please is one of my favorites.
oh, that is a good one.
There's a couple other I'm not going to say on stream for fear of YouTube not liking it.
Mount
But
your
yeah.
friends. Yeah.
Dude, there's some crazy ones. We were looking on Steam, and there is some degenerates on the Steam store.
I've
There
got
is on all of them.
Yeah, for sure. I got one of those friends that'll just for Christmas or some holiday or a holiday that doesn't even make sense. He'll just send you random ass games. And it was like what, Garfield Kart or some shit like that. I'm like, what is this, dude? Like,
I love it. Garfield Kart.
Roach Simulator was one of them too. There was another one. There's one that I'm not going to say on stream, but yeah,
there's a lot of heinous things on there.
Yes, yeah,
Things that are not for children's eyes, and they're somehow on the Steam store. I'm not sure how it happens.
Internet.
or YouTube. YouTube
yes.
won't like us talking about some of those.
I'm a YouTube fellow though. I love watching YouTube on tour. That's another thing I love to do.
Do you do it with or without ads? That's the big question.
Dude, I wish I could. I have an ad blocker on my computer, but as far as on my phone, no, I do not have an ad blocker.
I'm about to change your life. You ready for this? Ad block browser app.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
Actually, hold on. Are you on Android or Apple?
I'm on Apple.
I don't know if that's an Apple thing. I think because I use Android and I have, so instead of using Chrome browser, I just do everything in AdBlock browser. So when I need to go to YouTube, I just watch it from there. It's not quite as optimized, but I don't see a single ad, so worth it. I don't know if that kind of a browser though, if that's compatible with Apple software or not, if Apple even allows something like that.
On the App Store at the moment, but
yeah, that'd be worth looking into though, Kyle, for sure. Because that's anytime anybody's talking about YouTube, I try to always point them in the direction of not having to watch ads.
Yeah, we hate that guy. We hate ads.
Yeah, which is funny because bands need to be taking out ads, but it's like, man, we need to be taking out ads to help us out, but I also hate ads, so it's like,
yeah.
I'm
with it.
Let me take out a couple, read a couple more comments here. We'll ask one or two more questions and then wrap up. Actually, hell, it's getting close to 8 o'clock
starving.
right now. Yeah, for sure. We'll finish out with a couple of comments real quick then. He said he got my tickets down, never out. Said I got my tickets for Orfest. Day 10 coming out. Day 2. Okay, hell yeah, that's badass. He says, yeah, Gundam rips. Evangelion. I don't even know if I said that correctly.
Good show too.
Yeah,
Good series as well.
He said, still mad. Oh, this guy. Still mad the Zelda shirts sold out on the last tour.
Yeah, man. We had the Zelda ones on the. We had them for Hatebreed, and we had them on a different one as well. And then we had
Alpha Wolf.
We had the Halo ones. This past one, we had Master Chief fighting the flood on it.
That's badass. For
super
those types
badass.
of shirts, obviously that kind of appeals to a certain niche of people. But do you feel like those shirts still sell pretty well despite that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. Do you feel like maybe they sell even harder than the other ones?
It depends on, I think, the subject matter. If it's a popular thing that everybody loves, then yes. I think rips will always do well. Like every time we do a rip of something, it always does extremely well. Like we did one that was like a Five Guys, like the burger place. Yeah. We did that. We did a rip of it, and it was like, dude, we sold like 1,000 of them. It was insane. I mean, any of them, like, really. Like we had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one. We're doing another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one. Spoiler alert, we're doing it. In the next like week or two, we're doing one for Milwaukee Metal Fest, and it's pretty dope.
But
we'll probably have it at Orifest as well.
Yeah, we'll probably have it. We like to just do fun shit. Like we're doing another one that's pretty fun. It's like I'll just tell you anyway, because you're gonna see it on the internet in like a week anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But we're doing one that's like a deer crossing sign, but it's Bigfoot, and he's got the middle finger up.
That's cool.
It is hilarious.
That's awesome.
It's hilarious. But we're doing stuff like that. Like we love to do fun designs like that. It's just I think when people know that you have fun too, it makes your band a lot more fun. Like yes, there's definitely the line of being like, okay, this is a little like we don't want to be cringe, but at the same time we want to have fun, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that our band, luckily, we kind of fall in the same category as like the Acacia Strain, where we can print serious stuff, but then we can print like funny stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And it still works out, which is good.
Yeah, that's badass. Yeah, Down Never Out. This is funny. He said Second Death did a Waffle House shirt. See, that's awesome, though. That's badass for them because their band name works so well with the Waffle House logo. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we got one last question here. Dead in Fields wants to know favorite hometown club to play.
Soundbar.
Okay.
Rip.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, Rip.
Mr. Shope.
Hometown. Can we include like all of Florida?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say Crowbar in Tampa.
Yeah.
I like Crowbar. Crowbar's good.
Good band too. Obviously a badass venue as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, man. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Kyle, if you guys don't mind, just kind of hang out for a sec. We'll discuss a couple things real quick after the stream. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody for coming out. Thanks again to Tim from Orifest for helping to put this on and helping us to do these interviews with some badass bands. Thanks everybody that came out. Steve, Quisha, Dead Infield, Jeremy, so many people. Thank you guys so much, and thank you again, Kyle, for being awesome, taking some time out of your busy ass schedule to come by and do an interview with us. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. You guys be safe and good luck on tour, man. Keep killing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See y'all.
Ya.